So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining on time. On behalf of Crashfree India, I warmly welcome you all for today's session. Before starting, I'll just quickly introduce myself. I am Muskan. I've recently finished my master's from TIS Mumbai, and I've joined here at Crashfree India as a program management fellow. It's been an exciting journey so far. I've had the chance to see firsthand how this organization is building something very unique and from scratch. I'll just quickly share my screen once to let you all go through the slides. And yeah, I hope it's visible for everyone now.
Yes.
Great. Uh, so Crashfree India essentially is it's not just an organization. It's it's a movement, and we started only 5 months ago with a simple but urgent mission, which is to make Indian roads safe. And in this short period of time, we have grown into 140 plus strong community across 18 cities, consisting of students, urban planners, policy experts, and also tech professionals. As you can see on the screen, all of us are united by one vision, and that is India with zero road deaths by 2040. However, we're not working on road safety in isolation. We're tackling it from every side, whether it's emergency care, smarter policies, better technology, or changing road user behavior. So our goal is to turn road safety from an ignored issue to a shared moment for a change. And if I quickly run through the next slide, our most powerful project or ways for doing that is Project Rakshak. So we started Project Rakshak on 15th July 2025, and it's primarily a youth-driven initiative that works to make India's roads safer by addressing critical infrastructural gaps and crash-prone areas. So right now we have 39 student teams across 18 cities, and they have already mapped out more than 50 crash-prone stretches. Some of them include Delhi, Lucknow, Varanasi, Indore. So these are some of the major locations. I think somebody's mic is on. If you could please mute yourself. Uh, Thanks. So these teams largely come from civil engineering and urban planning backgrounds, especially IITs and NITs, and they're working on localized infrastructure solutions for road safety. So moving on to the next slides, these are some of the snapshots you can see from that our teams shared with us, and they're working on different fields, near their location. So Chowk Bazaar, Surat, we can see some of them are from Indore, IIT Delhi. I just hope we really treat those infrastructure issues, and then we really make an impact here. Moving on to the next slide. So primarily, Project Rakshak is structured into 5 phases. The first phase included field visits and crash data collected through FIRs, RTIs, also collecting volumetric data from different field sites. Right now, we are in the second phase of the project, which is about stakeholder interviews, stakeholder surveys, and road safety audits. The next steps would include designing site-specific interventions, presenting the solution to authorities like PWD, municipal bodies, and then finally moving towards implementation and impact assessment. So to support these teams, we have 8 mentors coming from IIT Delhi, IIT Kharagpur, Institute of Urban Planning, and also Vignan University. So these mentors are guiding them throughout. And I think I feel very proud when I see that in just 6 weeks, our teams have filed more than 19 RTIs. They have identified 50 infrastructural issues, and they have begun phase 2 with stakeholder surveys. Having said that, Project Rakshak is not just about research or audits. It is essentially about turning evidence into action. Even if only a fraction of infrastructure issues which have been identified get fixed, we can save thousands of lives every single year. And that is exactly why today's session is so important, because we have gathered here to learn from experts who have been working on road safety and mobility for decades. So their perspectives will not only inspire us, I believe, but also sharpen the way we as young change makers approach the challenges at our sides. Uh, so we are very fortunate to have with us four amazing speakers. Mr. Amar Srivastava, the founder of IRSC, Dr. Geeta Ma'am, who is the chair of TRIP and also professor at IIT Delhi, Dr. Richa Ahuja, assistant professor IIT Kharagpur, and Mr. Gajendra Janged, whom we fondly call Gajju. He is the founder of Pass24 and trustee of Crashfree India. With that context, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Amar Srivastava, founder and president of Indian Road Safety Council (IRSC) for the welcome address. Amar started IRSC while he was studying at IIT Delhi, and after losing his seniors in a road crash. So, under his leadership, IRSC has united over 50,000 volunteers, interns, and change makers across India in a youth-driven road safety advocacy and action. Amar now serves on the board of central government and other civic bodies. He is also a trustee at Crashfree India. Amar sir, over to you.
Thank you, Muskan, and pleasure to sort of speak to everyone. And thank you, Geeta ma'am, for taking out time and speaking with all of us. And I think while Muskan mentioned about the journey of IRSC, I think the journey started with Geeta ma'am, I think 10 years back with me meeting ma'am and understanding how we can sort of create an impact in the field of road safety. And also, I think some of the mentors, Richa ma'am, all of you have been supporting us in our journey since a decade, right? Uh, while obviously IRSC, Indian Road Safety Council, has been sort of doing a lot of things, I think one of the major things that we have always focused on is the power of youth collaboration and technology. Power of youth, basically because youth is present everywhere, and if we really have to create change makers and change for the long term, I think it is important that young people understand why this field is important. And the best way to learn that is to sort of immerse yourself in solving a problem. I think that is what I learned from Geeta ma'am 10 years back when we were thinking that what we should do, and that is when we conceptualized a very simple project called as policy internship back then, which now obviously the team has now named as Project Rakshak. And I think every year we have been doing it. There are so many stories of ground level action creating impact that come to the fore. If I look back 10 years back, I think I had reached out to Geeta ma'am, and ma'am had suggested that a lot of young people go back to their sort of hometowns for do internships. And if we can sort of give them the right expertise and help them to sort of collect a lot of data on the ground level, combined with the expertise, can we sort of create changes across different parts of the country, which actually lead to impact, right? Sometimes we do a lot of awareness sessions, but it is limited to us listening about road safety. But when we go to the ground, I'm sure all of you here, once you would have gone on the ground level, you would have seen that there are so many challenges out there. Maybe I was just traveling few minutes back on a busy Bangalore sort of road, right? There are so many different problems, but we somehow become accustomed to it. But when we go there and we look from a lens of solving it, we realize that all of it is solvable. It only needs motivation, it needs the right direction, and it needs the right sort of support, right? And that is what we want to provide through Project Rakshak at Crashfree. And sure that with the mentorship of Geeta ma'am and the esteemed mentors, and with all the young people who really want to go on the ground, we'll be able to create large interventions that not only solve the problem for now, but for the future as well. Um, I think while I was speaking to Dipanshu, Akhtar, and Muskan, they also shared that we should share what have been our learnings for the last 5 to 10 years of running this. I think one of the craziest learning has been that this is not easy, right? Not only about this particular project, Rakshak, or the internship all of you are doing, or basically, I think how I look at it is that in life, if you have to achieve anything, I think everything is difficult. It is only about how motivated you are and how much you really want to create impact, right? And social impact is a very, very difficult field, to be honest. I've been seeing that for multiple years. I still remember the first time I met Geeta ma'am, I said that, hey ma'am, I've lost my friends to a road crash. I don't want anyone should go through it. How can I change this in couple of years? And ma'am only smiled, because I could see that ma'am, looking back now, I know that ma'am would have felt that it is so difficult. But now working on it, I have realized it that it is a very, very difficult field. But that is what sort of actually is, in a way, that nobody without, let's say, the right kind of passion and motivation can actually create impact. And that is why I think all of us on a Saturday afternoon are here, because we all really want to create impact, right? And from that lens, it is important that all of us come together, uh, and acknowledge that yes, it will be difficult to create impact, but at the same time, I think we have all the support system that is present here at Crashfree, from ma'am, from mentors, from, let's say, all of us, right, to sort of go there on the ground, identify what the problems is, and then sort of keep at it. Um while it is difficult, I think I still remembered, I'm not sure, ma'am, you would remember that after a couple of years, I think someone submitted to us that they had got an overbridge approval of 7 CR when I was just in college. Ma'am was a professor, because they felt that an overbridge creation by the local authorities could save approximately 15 to 20 lives. And this happened in Tonk in Rajasthan. We were based in IT Delhi, but this team working in a sort of maybe a remote location back then in Rajasthan had identified what was causing an issue, worked with experts, and got a solution implemented. The happiness that all of us got that day when we got that approval, I think still till date, I have never revisited that article, but I still remember that. And maybe it's one of the best accomplishment in my entire life of getting that project done. But I was not there, right? I think it was a team, and it is their effort that led to creation of, let's say, a change in the local, let's say, infrastructure that is saving lives not only that year but has continued to do so. And that is where I wanted to share that this internship or project or whatever you want to call it is actually a real life problem solving exercise, where if you're able to really get deep into it, I think the change that if you're able to create will be the best accomplishment of your entire career, because it will not only be a project, not only a certificate, but it will be saving lives, right? Not only once, but multiple times over and over again. So it will be difficult. I think that has been my learning, but the fruits of it are really, really sweet and continue to get sweeter as you'll see the impact that it creates, right? So that is something that I wanted to share with you. And while it is difficult, I think it is also, in a way, real life problem solving. So there will be a lot of learnings, negotiating with all of us to get approvals for your phases, negotiating with your mentors and getting the right insights, negotiating with the local stakeholders to actually give you data, negotiating and discussing with local people that what the problem is, right? And then eventually going to the government and requesting them that, hey, this is actually a problem and let us solve this together. So I think bunch of learnings, every step will be difficult, but if we continue to sort of excel at each, I'm sure we'll create a lot of impact. One of the other things that I've really felt with thousands of teams who have done this in the past with us is that I think after each phase, it looks like that, hey, I've made a lot of effort. Maybe is there a shortcut that is possible? But in life and in this internship and actually creating impact, I think there are no shortcuts. Every phase you'll have to be very, very in depth, and you'll have to work in detail, so that whenever you are talking to people that what this problem is, whenever you are talking to your mentors or experts that what should the solution be, it is needed that you be thorough, because eventually when we are getting this sort of implemented on the ground level, it is something that we are not doing only as the submissions that we do while we are learning or we are in college, right? Which does not impact. This will actually have impact on the ground level. So it is important that everything is sort of to the T detailed out. We are very, very thorough, and we have sort of done the best work possible. So there are no shortcuts at any phase in this. I'll request all of you to make sure that while we are implementing this, we put in the extra effort, because um when you submit the final report to the government or to your mentors, if it is sort of very well outlined, I think there are high chances of it getting accepted and we saving hundreds and thousands of lives, right? And at the all time, remember that we all are there to support you. Ma'am is there, mentors are there. We are there to help you wherever you face a blocker. Dipanshu here, I think, is one of the ninjas here in the industry who has contacts with all the transport commissioners on his phone. I think whenever we face trouble, we reach out to him. So all of you have the support from the government as well. So all of this you should sort of capitalize so that you are actually able to create this sort of intervention. I and the Pancho still receive requests for people going to IIMs, Harvard, that hey, we did this project which actually saved a lot of lives. Can you actually validate this? So that showcases that people really value this experience a lot. And I'm sure that all of you, I think it's not about a IIM or a Harvard, but saving lives. I think, as I mentioned at the start, right, the fruits will get sweeter as you'll see the impact that your work will create. But I'm here, and the team is here, ma'am is here. We are ready to support you, and I'm sure that all of us will create multiple stories that next year all of you will be sharing with people who join us to create impact. But all the best to everyone, and thank you, ma'am. Thank you, mentors. Thank you, Dipanshu, Akhtar, Muskan, for organizing this. I'm very, very hopeful that it will create massive impact.
Thank you, Umar. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I think the biggest takeaway for the teams is the importance of community trust and the motivation and the passion they should carry inside them. So it's not, of course, the just to simplify the simply file surveys or prepare a report. It's more than an internship, and every road user teams speak to, every issue they try to treat, they should be keep in mind that they're part of a bigger vision, and which is saving the lives of other people. So yeah, thank you for that. Next, I think it's my honor, ma'am, to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Geetam Tiwari, Professor of Civil Engineering and Chair of Transportation Research and Injury Prevention Center, TRIP at IIT Delhi. With over decades of experience in transport planning and traffic safety, she was one of the few people who motivated and inspired Amar, as he mentioned, to start IRSC. She has been a long-standing advisor of IRSC, and her work spans transport planning, safety of vulnerable road users, and public transport systems. In recognition of her contributions, she was conferred an honorary doctorate in Sweden in 2012, where she also collaborated on projects to improve road safety and sustainable transport. So Professor Tiwari's research has also shaped Delhi's bus rapid transit system and informed safety guidelines that have improved access and reduced accidents in inner cities as well. She helped introduce the policy internship program at IRSC, which is now Project Rakshak. We are privileged to have Geeta ma'am here. Ma'am, please welcome Professor Geeta Tiwari.
Thank you so much, Muskan. And it's always a delight to listen to Amar. I think you still haven't lost your very contagious enthusiasm that you have shown right from the beginning. And I'm so happy that because of IRSC, this topic has really been picked up by youth. And this internship, it started as a very small thing in IIT Delhi. I remember we used to invite teams to IIT Delhi and make presentations, and this has really spread to the whole country now. So really, thanks to you, Amar. It's all your effort and your team's effort, Dipanshu and you.
No,
So
thank
I'll
you,
just share
ma'am.
my presentation. I thought I will just make a brief presentation. Okay, let me know that you all can see my slides. I'm just putting it on the slideshow. Yeah. Is it all visible? Yes. Okay.
Yes, it's visible, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
So I believe that first of all, I'm really delighted that so many teams are working in uh, different cities. I believe 18 cities all over the country. That's really wonderful to hear. And we have very, very capable mentors to guide them. So in this short presentation, I thought you are in phase 2, and now you will start looking into thinking about solutions and what can be done about the problems you have identified. So let me just kind of quickly give you an overview of, or remind you of, the fundamental principles of designing safer roads and safer urban areas with some examples. So this would give you some kind of guidance as you come up with your own solutions. And remember that it's important to follow the principles, but for any particular problem or situation, there can be multiple solutions. So do think about, alternatives also. So first of all, you must have realized that when we talk about safe urban areas, whether it's safe junction or safe school zone or safe roads in cities, it's all about ensuring vulnerable road user safety. And that is basically pedestrians, bicycles, and motorized two-wheelers. And as far as design issues are concerned, we can do a lot by improving pedestrian and bicycle safety. Motorized two-wheeler remains a big challenge. And at the moment, major solutions we have is fundamentally enforcement, not so much design at the moment. So let's focus and remember that we do have a lot of pedestrians on every single city that we are dealing with. And every person who's using a public transport is also a pedestrian. So when you identify issues around public transport stops, you also again have to consider that how people are going to walk there or cross the road. So these are some numbers. Basically, you may be aware of these numbers already, that the almost 35% of traffic fatality cost is of pedestrians. Add another 5% and that becomes bicyclists. So 40% is of this. And a lot of people walking on our streets are captive because we have really poor facilities for them. So just a reminder to you that, what are the risk factors? Why do we see so many pedestrian fatalities? Because we are not designing our roads for pedestrians. Somehow, you may have seen all the IRC guidelines, and if you haven't, then do refer to it. All the correct design guidelines exist, but when it comes to implementation, then we are not using that as a priority. And I think that would become a challenge for you, that how do you convince authorities with your solutions, which should focus on ensuring proper footpaths, bicycle lanes, safe crossing facilities, etc., and convincing authorities that this should be the priority. So sometimes in our peripheral areas of city, we also find where we have major highways, and highways have very, very fast traffic, and basically pedestrian facilities don't exist, and we find this extremely high risk situation where pedestrians are just crossing the road when the vehicles are moving at more than 80-90 kilometers per hour. So a quick reminder to all of us that when we look at traffic safety as a science, and as a public health problem, we understand that it is a disease that results from an acute exposure to transfer of energy from the environment. And in our case, the energy is coming from speeds of vehicles. It's the kinetic energy, half mv squared. So when we want to reduce that, it all becomes how do we control speeds. So just keep reminding yourself that pedestrians are vulnerable. And the first picture shows that, when a motorized car is hitting a pedestrian, what parts of the body are getting hurt and where the injuries are happening at different speeds. And the second one is actually giving us a very, very useful information that tolerance level for pedestrian is impact speed below 30 kilometers per hour. As you can see with the first red arrow, that the probability of fatality to pedestrian is less than 8% when the impact speed is 30, and it reduces even below that when the speeds are lower. But at impact speed at 50, suddenly it jumps to very high at 80%. This is another way of understanding the impact of speed. If the initial speed itself is high, then it is going to take a long time to stop the vehicle in time before hitting a pedestrian. So the initial speed not only matters because of the energy being transferred to human body and human beings are getting hurt, but it also, as you see in this graph, the red line is where a pedestrian is standing, say about 38 meters from where the car had found the pedestrian or registered that there was a pedestrian. And if the initial speed was 80, then you can see that the car would stop much after hitting, and the impact speed here would be 62, the lowermost bar. But the same driver, if was going only at 50 kilometers per hour, will be able to stop the topmost bar within less than 30 meters, about 27 meters. So the pedestrian would be absolutely safe. This is the reason why urban maximum speeds are fixed at 50 kilometers per hour. And all lower category roads are going to have lower speeds. And also this graph shows that with small change in speed, the benefit of reducing, whether we talk about injury or we talk about fatalities or all crashes, is huge. So you see the dotted line, this is telling us the relationship between small change in percentage mean speed and change in percentage of crashes. So you can see it's an exponential relationship. So if we reduce the speed a little bit, say less than 5%, and it will result in reduction of more than 20% in fatalities, and more than about 10-15% for all injuries. So even small change in speed matters. Now, of course, speed is all, driver is deciding at what speed to drive. And this is where our understanding becomes very important, that what are the factors that influence the speed that drivers decide to move on. So you can see here there are a whole lot of factors here, but the most important happens to be road factor. The way road is designed influences what speed people will end up driving at. And so after understanding that, and as I told you earlier, urban speed limits should not exceed 30. But if your black spot that you have identified is an intersection, so at intersection, the speed has to be even less than 50, 30 kilometers per hour only. And local authorities should be able to reduce speeds where necessary. For example, if your road is in front of school, then the speed limits as recommended by IRC is also less than 50. So how, as designers, what all we have in our control to make an impact on speed compliance by design is by controlling the width of the lanes and also introducing traffic calming techniques like speed humps and rumble strips. So in next few slides, let's see a quick review of this. So if some of you want to use some reference material, WHO has come out with best practice guidelines. Do look up that. That is very, very useful. And it has a separate guidelines for speed management, for pedestrian safety, for two-wheeler safety, and for bicycle safety. So this table is from there, and only a couple of things that I would highlight, because after looking at several studies, they have which ones are definitely a proven strategy that this works. And for some strategies, we have completely either ineffective or it can even be potentially harmful. So you see, these are some guidance for you that you can adopt some of these for your own site. And basically, I put the red arrow on things which are, we don't have it. So either we don't have sufficient evidence or it is potentially harmful. And the two that are highlighted here are increasing travel speed without improving quality of infrastructure is definitely going to be harmful. If we do not provide separate infrastructure for pedestrians and bicycles, this will create more crashes. And then pedestrian bridges also, unless it's really, really necessary, first preference is always given to AdGrid. And the same document also gives cost-benefit analysis of various measures. So you can see here, the ones which are positive are roundabouts in urban areas, lane narrowing, because that also has an impact on speed humps, implementation of 30 km/h zones. So these are all very effective strategies. Now, yes, if your black spot happens to be around school, then we know that this has to be a low speed zone. You can have a variation of several traffic calming techniques that can be introduced to control speed. And not only that, one should also look at how the whole route to school can be made safe by walking and bicycling. And then encouraging use of public transport for longer trips is always a better option than cars or two-wheelers for school trips. So now remember, these are some guiding principles when you start looking at the redesigning of your spots which have high risk. Look at road geometric standards from VRU perspective. What is required which makes the usage of that place safe and convenient for pedestrians, bicycles, and people using public transport. And similarly, traffic management policies also, which would include what kind of signal system we are having, whether we are introducing a pedestrian signal system or not, should be looked at whether it is enabling pedestrians and bicycles to make safe choices. And roadside vendors in informal sector is also very important as an integral service provider for these VRUs. So instead of simply calling them encroachment, we have to see that how in our design we can accommodate them at the logical places. So these are some guidance for urban speeds. Just keep that in mind while designing your locations. And couple of other three important principles, which also kind of comes from our safe Vision Zero and safe systems approach. So first principle is that we have to limit travel speeds through intersections to less than 30 km/h. And we have to design as far as possible, we have to avoid 90-degree collisions. So immediate implication of this principle is that try and introduce various types of roundabouts instead of making four-way junctions. And travel speeds above 50 km/h and 90-degree impact angles are not compatible with safe system approach. And then wherever the speeds are actually should be greater than 30 km/h, we have to physically separate VRUs from motorized vehicles. And temporal separation, it says, is less effective in meeting safe system ideals because just remind yourself what are the three fundamental principles of safe systems approach or Vision Zero. First principle is that people do make mistakes and human beings are vulnerable. And that is why here it says that if we do temporal separation, which basically means traffic signals, then if somebody jumps a red light, it becomes a problem. So the current thinking is as far as possible, we should try and make for four-way junction should be introducing it as small roundabouts. And for pedestrians and bicycles both, comfort and convenience has to be prioritized because on their own, people don't internalize risk. So unless we make our facilities all comfortable and safe at the same time, people will not use it. And as you can see here, and from your own experiences, you would know that pedestrians always first choice is to cross the road at grade and at shortest distances. So keep this in mind while redesigning your systems. And here are some quick examples. A typical Y junction or T junction where there are a lot of crashes. So safety by design means that how we can transform this. 3 main elements in redesigning this. So a small roundabout has been introduced because we have a lot of two-wheeler traffic. So therefore, we have speed calming on all 3 sides. And then bus stop we have brought very close to the junction because this is the place where people can access 3 directions with shortest distance. And this is where they can also cross the road safely because there are speed calming, and so the speeds are controlled. And along with bus stops, you can see there is greenery and also footpath, separate footpath, bicycle lane, and spaces for vendors. So another, you can say that you can start your work like this. You can just simply mark out what is happening at present. So understand the use of space and activities of the junction or the location that you are redesigning. And this is here like all major activities basically have been listed and what kind of right of ways we have on the road. And then basically all issues are listed here. What are the hazardous situations where the conflicts are happening? And then in the solution, without adding extra spaces, so you start solving each problem that was identified in the previous one. So parking bay for 4-wheelers, median and divided roads, and also slowing down the vehicular traffic, parking for 3-wheelers also. Then we have parking for more, basically parking in all 3 sides for 3-wheelers, raised crossing because this also controls speeds, 3-wheeler parking on this side also, 3-wheeler parking and cycle rickshaw. So basically we have to organize and reducing conflicts, accommodating all activities, including spaces for street vendors and controlling speeds. These are the few things that have been listed here. And I'm showing you one proposal here. You think over it and you can come up with some alternate design also. It doesn't have to be just one proposal. So we have to physically separate or provide for travel speeds which are more than, again, I said this is the wrong sign. So for pedestrian safety also, the WHO guideline has this, best practice manual has several options. And those options are basically, so implementing area-wide lower speed limit programs, for example, 30 kilometers per hour in the whole neighborhood has been found to be very effective. Installing speed management measures at intersections has been found to be very effective. You can look up traffic calming guideline, which is IRC 99. It gives you several options. You can look at that and then choose the appropriate one. So these 2 are the most effective. And for some other measures, there is somewhat evidence that it works, but not 100%. And the third column is basically where we do not have sufficient evidence that it's working. And here you can see that basically the options are installing signals to alert motorists that pedestrians are crossing has not been found to be very effective. So this is like a quick reminder, and just look up all these standards which are available. You have excellent mentors to guide you through these IRC guidelines, and there are also these WHO best practice manuals that you can refer to. And last thing really is that, when we talk about safety and urban safety, which basically now we are talking about human-oriented street designs. And this becomes completely very, very important that in cities. Cities are meant for people. So first priority has to be given to pedestrians and bicycles. And human-oriented street design basically means that we have walkable, not only paths, but that whole environment becomes walkable. And we have to have road designs in such a way where VRUs, vulnerable road users, which is pedestrians and bicycles, are prioritized. We have to provide spaces for street vendors. We have to provide spaces, resting spaces, and also creation of green belts become very important now. With other global challenges like climate change, and we are facing this very unpredictable weather, extreme heat. So along with safety, do include, these other considerations also. As I said in the beginning, pedestrians always prioritize comfort and convenience first. So if we want to make them safe, then in all our designs, we have to ensure comfort, convenience, and very, very low risk, removing conflicts with motorized vehicles. So I can stop here, and I really look forward to, seeing your final solutions. And I hope that, and I don't doubt with the kind of mentors you have, that you will come up with very interesting, useful solutions. And I think the main challenge would be, as Amar also mentioned, that when you start discussing with the authorities, your talent would lie in convincing them that why pedestrians have to be uh, prioritized in our urban areas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geeta ma'am, for that insightful presentation. What really stood out to me was your explanation of, how small changes in speed can make a huge difference in fatality risk. Something, we often overlook in, daily driving. And this has given a lot to reflect upon, and I'm really sure that it will add immense value to our work going forward. So, yeah, thank you, Geeta ma'am. Up next, we have Dr. Richa Ahuja, Assistant Professor at IIT Kharagpur Center of Excellence on Safety Engineering and Analytics. She completed her PhD under the guidance of Dr. Geetam Tiwari at IIT Delhi, and she's also our advisor to Project Rakshak. And she has been involved with IRSC for more than 8 years now. Her expertise lies in applying AI, machine learning, and IoT to road safety and emergency response. She has also published influential research on high crash location identification in Delhi and improving emergency medical response systems in low income urban areas. Richa ma'am, we'll love to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Professor Tiwari. Um, really insightful always. It's just a pleasure and always it's always a learning experience hearing from you. And every time something or the other is added to whatever knowledge base we already have. So really thankful for being there and telling us more on. Um, and yes, so my journey with IRSC also started with uh, uh, Amar starting IRSC and Professor Tiwari being our mentor. So I was pursuing PhD with Professor Tiwari in Food Center, and I was one of the mentors when the journey began. And similarly, Amar came to me and said that we have to design one policy internship. Can you help us? So we started with one iteration, second iteration, third iteration, and now we've done many iterations, and every time it has evolved. And even we're in this iteration when it is called Project Rakshak, and we've already started talking about what is coming new in next iteration. So that's the beauty of it, because the domain is so evolving, and every time the challenges are different. Uh, so we just keep on learning from our challenges, and we keep on evolving. So I would like to start with gratitude. Gratitude to all the people who have devoted all their lives to safety and to the mission, and also to all the mentors and the teams who took this as a dream. They wanted to bring some change, and they thought that this was something very important, which needed something to be done. So it was their dream, which led them to choose policy internship Project Rakshak, as we say it now. Uh, and with that dream, they have a vision of making some small change in an area which is very close to their heart. So somewhere they're using the area, somewhere they've been seeing those problems, always had that in the back of their minds that this is something that needs to be done. There is a problem in this location, but never had an opportunity. So the platform brings an opportunity to them to do something about it in a very mentored way. And again, a lot of effort has been put by all the mentors. So really appreciate all the effort that every mentor is putting in. So, and everybody brings a very diverse experience on the table. So that also is the beauty of the program, because it brings in a lot of flexibility. At the same time, it brings in solutions which makes them different but applicable to the locations where they are working on. Uh, and also, as Madam highlighted, that all solutions may not be applicable at every place, but there are some solutions which will be, which need to be tailored to the location where we are working on. So, it is very important that the mentorship they get, the kind of guidance they get, it is very important for anybody who wants to make a change. But then, how to make the change? What is the journey of making that change? And that comes through the vision of the program, but also through the vision of who is mentoring and guiding it. So, as Ms. Khan has already explained how we have come across and how many teams we are leading, I also want to highlight how they have started their journey of unlearning what they already knew, and also a journey of learning new. So, the moment somebody who doesn't have any experience in road safety thinks about road safety, the first thing that comes to mind is cars. So, every time we think of road safety, the first thing we think of is how to make cars more safe. But the teams have been looking it through the lens of all the road users, and that also makes it very unique, because even thinking from only cars to all the road users is a journey of unlearning and relearning. Because now we know what our priorities are. The priorities have changed. If the priority is only car, then the solutions are also only for cars. If the priority is everybody who's using the road, like Madam highlighted, that vulnerable road users are the most important road users. So then the solutions are also oriented towards who is going to use it and how are people going to be impacted by whatever we create. So it again a very commendable thing for everybody, all the people who've just been into the journey with just a few weeks now in, and they started to explore that how they have to consider all the road users and not just cars and motorized vehicles. So that's another thing. Um, okay. So as we dive into the journey, we have a very strong committed team. That team consists of mentors and the teams of participants. And they, when they committed to the dream that they had and how they wanted to pursue the dream of making an impact, they committed some sort of time. And the time demands may have increased now, because initially they would have thought that we will put just 1 or 2 hours in a weekend, that should be okay. But now going and meeting stakeholders, talking with people, exploring their research problems, not just research problems, exploring road safety issues around them, doing some data collection, and rethinking that how things are not working out, how they're not able to find out things. Like, for example, a lot of them were facing a lot of data issues, so they went on to do RTIs instead of going to police stations. They were not getting data from police stations. So meeting with local governments and asking them for data sets and convincing them to even allow them to do the study on intersections. So some of them have also faced challenges on getting permission on collecting data at some locations, because police is not allowing them to collect any sort of traffic data, any volumetric studies. So even those challenges, which they had not even thought of, and some of us had also not even thought of that this will come at those locations. So how everything is being restructured. So it truly demands a lot of teamwork, and how they have individually assigned themselves some very important tasks in the team is also a very important component. So some of you may have assigned themselves some task in the beginning, but then because of all this restructuring, you might end up doing a lot of other things which you had not initially thought of. So which would also demand a lot of more time commitment to what you had initially thought of. And that is also the most important part of completing anything. We start with a dream, but dreams only come to reality when we are totally committed to what we want to do, right? If we are not committed to what we want to do, then we may just take it to a certain point and uh, might have to just leave it midway. So every project, any small project or big project, uh, will have many challenges like this one, and it will demand much more of your commitment, much more of persistent effort, and that is what we are all about. That is how we grow. That is the journey of growth. And that is the journey of creating the impact, creating the change that we're all set out to make. So, in your journey of setting out to make the impact in road safety, in saving lives, in the vision of truly saving lives throughout, with whatever you're doing, the most important component is being committed to what you're doing now. So, in the next phase, which is also going to be the most difficult and most important phase of your work, is going to be the stakeholder interaction and designing the solutions. So, in that phase, you have to very carefully look at how you go about it and how you're going to use everything you create in this phase to convince the authorities the solutions that you propose should be applicable and implemented in the locations that are very dear to your hearts. So that is something very important for everybody to know. So, okay, uh, I think I would stop there and reiterate that we know sustainability is the most important thing right now, but safety lies at the heart of sustainability. We cannot think of a sustainable future without thinking about safety in any domain. So be it AIML or be it on ground work on road safety, everything ties in. If we cannot think of moving safely on the road, if we cannot think of doing whatever we are doing, of accessing places safely, and if we cannot even speak, so even within a team, if we cannot think that we can safely speak our viewpoints to our team members between and not be worried of being judged or misinterpreted, then then I don't think that we are actually leading to anything sustainable. So to create sustainable solutions, we need to have safety at the core of everything, even between the team discussions to doing to creating safety solutions on the road and considering everything uh, guided properly so that they can be implemented properly. So one more thing I would like to highlight here, which we've had conversations before, but again, so the most important part of this work is going to be how technically sound we create the solutions. Because if they want to implement it, they will need to have a very good grounding. And the grounding will definitely come if we do it properly. So one thing is just doing for the sake of completing the project. The other thing is doing it properly so that it has some
ఉండమోడ్లు
grounding
పెట్టారు
and
పైన
it
ఫ్లైఓవర్
can be
వేసారు
appreciated by the government so
11
that they can
kilometers
implement it. So just keep that focus intact and keep working, keep doing. We really, really appreciate all the effort you've been putting in, and you have all our support. Uh, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richa ma'am, for those valuable insights and for sharing your gratitude. You also told us the importance of unlearning and team commitment. So this really gave us a lot of to think about. Now I would like to apologize to all the teams as we are skipping the mentor exercise today due to time constraints, and will now introduce Gajendra Jangid, aka Gaju, co-founder and Cast 24 of and CMO of Cast 24, and he's leading one of the India's biggest unicorns, transforming the automobile sector. As an alum of IIT Bombay, he co-founded Cast 24 in 2015 and has played a pivotal role in scaling it into a household name across India. What makes him truly inspiring is not just his entrepreneurial journey, but also his commitment to road safety. As a trustee of Crashfree India, Gajendra has been deeply invested in our vision of building safer roads. His personal involvement, guidance, and belief in the mission have been a constant source of motivation for all of us at Crashfree India. Gaju, over to you.
Thank you, Muskan. Glad to be part of this conversation. First of all, I would like to apologize. I could not attend the initial part or most part of this discussion. I got stuck up in the meeting, but very glad to be here regardless. And anyways, I've been, part of Project Rakshak since the time we were debating on what kind of projects that we should pick under Crashfree India, and how during the brainstorming this idea came up, and we kind of, the moment this idea came up, we wanted to just go after it. And that discussion happened almost 6 months ago. And now looking 6 months down the line, seeing the full-fledged teams have been formed, 18 districts have been part of it, all the mentors who are thank you, who are on this call, and also guiding all participants very actively. And of course, Geeta ma'am, Richa ma'am, and Amar, and Dipanshu and Akhtar to organizing this call, and all other Crashfree India, members. So I would just, would like to just share one personal story, and that personal story is related to why I felt instantly, got connected to Project Rakshak. So I am born and raised in a very small town called Bardmer, Rajasthan. This is, as west as you can go. If you look at the India's map, right south of Jaisalmer, very large town, mostly desert, like a lot of desert over there. And while growing up, right, we were all I would say back in the days, there were not many cars. It was either cycles or two-wheelers. While growing up, as the town was small, there weren't many things to do, right? So the best you could do is to, go out to, the temples in the town, or there was one particular temple which was like around 20 kilometers away from the town, which everyone used to go to just to, because it kind of take you out of the town, and you kind of feel that, okay, there's some greenery over there, because greenery was, it wasn't very common over there, because of course, scarcity of water, there is no greenery, but there is a 20-kilometer away, there's a big temple with a big garden, big trees, and it's just everybody used to look forward to go over there just to spend one good family day. Now, my parents used to take me over there once in a 3 months or once in a 4 months. And as I grew older, the trips kind of got increased, because first my parents used to take me, and then I started also going over there with my friends, mostly on the scooter. Now, while going over, the interesting thing that used to happen over there, while traveling from that, my town to the temple and the garden around it, I used to see so often on the way to there that there always, every time I used to go over there, I can still remember that I used to see one bike lying on the side of the road, and I could see accident has just happened or happened few hours ago. And I just used to wonder what has happened. So, एक बार हुआ, दो बार हुआ, and I just always continue to see. But I was child, I didn't know enough, and whenever I used to ask, and even my parents and all at that point of time, they just didn't explain to me, and I didn't know the reason. As I grew up, became a teenager, then I started going to the temple and the surroundings, all of that with my friends. Then, chatting over there with the friends and some seniors from the school as well. I would say 11th, I was in 11th standard. And I asked, यार यहाँ पे इतने accidents क्यों होते हैं? ये हर बार कभी ना कभी आता हूँ, and I see one or two individual, on the bike, either bike has fallen, blood has happened, you could just imagine one crash site where एक bike गिरी हुई है, और you could see bloody, uh, you know, you know, bodies on the side of the road, and a lot of people have just gathered around to take them to the hospital. And of course, next day we used to hear in the news if someone has really what kind of injury it is, and many times it was fatal injury as well. तो जब दोस्तों के साथ जाना शुरू किया, then I found out what used to happen, and you will not believe it. So there was a very small shop right in front of the big temple and garden, and that shop जहाँ से सब लोग basically मंदिर का प्रसाद लेते थे, that shop owner used to sell beer on the back side. Okay. Now just imagine, right? He's on the front facade, he's selling all the basically mandir ki prasadi and all. On the back side, he's selling beer for all those teenager, fresh college going students who wants to move out of the time, because I'm talking about, late 90s. There was alcohol shops are not very common, and also you can't drink publicly anywhere, right? So a lot of college students used to go over there. और वो back side में होता था, जो झोपड़ी के पीछे होता था, nobody used to see. So people used to go there not to go to the temple, but to go and drink. But घर पे बोल के जाते थे, we are going to temple, right? So that they could get permission out of it, right? Now, after they had few beers or as many what they wanted, they used to go back to the town. And of course, when they are in a state where their thinking is impaired because of alcohol, there is a sharp turn that comes, and many times it used to happen later in the afternoon or evening. There's a sharp turn that comes, and of course, in that sharp turn, either they miss out that they continue to ride on the bike without realizing there's a sharp turn, and they just continue going straight, or if by the time they realize that there's a sharp turn, they hit a brake, the bike slides, right? And when I heard about it, and I just said myself, wow, right? It happens so often, it happens so much, no one really talks about it clearly, openly. And it happened for, I can't believe it, maybe since my 5 years old to the time I left my hometown. That was, back in 1999. So almost 15 years.